In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, I have an exclusive one-on-one interview with Stanford's Maxime Raynaud. Raynaud has a phenomenal story. His path to the draft is very unique. He averaged 4.5 points per game as a freshman and finished his senior year averaging like 20 and 11. I think Raynaud is the most skilled big man in the 2025 NBA draft. You don't want to miss this episode. Stay tuned. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, solo today, but I have a great interview for you. But before we get started, I want to let you know that you need to subscribe to the Locked On NBA Big Board YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what's taking so long, but click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode. We're coming at you 5 days a week. More exclusive NBA draft content. I will be in Chicago at the lottery and the NBA Combine next week. So be sure to stay tuned for some of the future episodes that James and I will be releasing live from Chicago. All right, let's get right into it. This was a very insightful interview with not only one of the more unique stories in this draft, but one of the more unique, I know that I'm using the word twice in a row, but one of the more unique personalities in this draft class. All right, here we go. My one-on-one interview in Dallas, Texas with Stanford's Maxime Raynaud. All right, we're sitting here in Dallas, Texas with Maxime Raynaud, a guy who I think, and I've said it before, the most skilled big in the 2025 NBA draft. But you have probably the most unique journey to the NBA draft. So you're a late bloomer. You started playing late. Just tell me, when did you first start playing basketball, and how did you get to this point? Because you basically covered a lot of ground or passed up a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Yeah, as you mentioned, late bloomer. Definitely started basketball middle of middle school, end of middle school, really. To be honest, swimming was my first love, and my mom wanted me to play a team sport. But eventually started playing it. Fell in love with it. Fell in love with the competitive side. Playing with like 5 other guys on the courts. That was a really big deal for me. And then very rapidly, everything came together. Started doing national team, under 16, European Championship, later under 20. Played at Charenton in France, Nanterre afterwards with Victor, obviously. And then quickly after that, came to the U.S., played at Stanford for 4 years. And over last summer, won the European Championship with the French national team. So, yeah, all of it really came fast to me, but it's been an amazing journey, and hopefully it's going to continue for a little bit longer.
So you started off as a walk-on.
Not really.
Okay.
I don't know where that came.
I've heard it from some reliable people.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw those videos too. I unfortunately never was, really. I think what happened was it was at the time where COVID guys could have a 5th year. So I came in with 3 years of guaranteed scholarship, and then the 4th year was not guaranteed because we didn't have enough spots for everybody, for all the returners. So I think that's where the confusion came from. But I definitely came in as not necessarily the most highly recruited guy. Was barely in the rotation my freshman year. I averaged like 4 and 2, really.
4.5 points per game.
Something like that, yeah. And then eventually, as time went on, took a little bit more space in the team. Eventually ended up being the captain this year. And just grew into the player that I am today. But yeah, it's been a great progression.
Yeah, to go from 4.5 points per game to basically 20 and 11.
Yeah.
And you were just short of being the first person ever to lead the ACC in scoring and rebounding, which is impressive. You think Tim Duncan played in the ACC, Rasheed Wallace, one of my all-time favorite players, and the ACC has a history of producing high-level players. And I was nothing against Marcus Burton, but I was rooting for you, and I was checking the box scores as the season went on. Hopefully,
I will say this: I played the whole season.
Yes.
If you miss the first 10 games, it's a little bit easier, But once again, no shame on that. He's a great player. Congrats to him. Leading the country in double-double was pretty cool too, though.
And I saw that you were the second. Only 2 7-footers have ever made as many three-pointers as you made this season. It was Lauri Markkanen. So you're in pretty good company there.
Yeah.
So when did you develop this skill set? So I mentioned I think you're the most skilled big in the draft. You got left hand, right hand, post up. You can score on either block. You can shoot the three. You can put the ball on the floor. When did all of that start coming together?
I think I was lucky enough when I started basketball and later when I came to Stanford that I've never really been put in a box. I've never really been told like, hey, we just want you to rebound, set screens, and catch rolls. I've always had that freedom, and I think I grew with it. Eventually, when I got to Stanford, I started working out daily with David Birkin, who was one of our assistants for the first 3 years. Eventually moved out to UIC. We always worked our way out. Started close to the basket, right hand, left hand, then get a little bit more outside, start working on your dribbling skills, and then finish with threes. So that was just in my routine, the way I worked. And I try to stay as consistent with it as possible. And then once again, like once something starts to work, like you just embrace it and you stick with it, right?
But even then, you're still being somewhat modest. The jump that you made, again, 4.5 points to 20. Like, when did you start believing, like, okay, I might be an NBA player here?
I think you always believe in yourself. That's the first thing. But once you get the recognition, you might have a little bit more of like self-affirmation. But also, like, it has to like start with yourself. You cannot let the outside noise really drive you away or drive you towards something in life. I really believe like if you have the conviction that you're a good player, it will eventually show if you remain consistent with your work, and that's what I did. I think I did not become an NBA player by like now being under the spotlight and having Stanford moving to the ACC, having a great season. I think I became an NBA player by like showing up every morning, going to workouts, by coming an hour before every practice, going to work out, by coming back at night, going to shoot, that kind of stuff. And yeah, then eventually when we won gold with national team, that was a pretty big deal for me. Eventually the pros invited me to the like kind of select team for the Olympics, and I was like, okay, now this is getting real. Like I'm actually practicing with like NBA players. I mean, obviously all the French ones like Victor, Rudy, Nico, Evan, all of them. And then once I came back to the ACC, as you mentioned, like I mean, probably the best scorer out there, best rebounder, was dominating every game, and yeah, having this sense of responsibility, I also enjoyed it. I think I tried to lead the program as much as I could. That's also a big deal for me. It's like before going to the next level, you need to finish things right. You know, being here for 4 years, it was a very big deal for me to start or like at least set the foundation of what Stanford will be in the ACC over the next couple of years, and especially with the coaching change with Cal Smith. So I try to embrace that as much as possible, and that was really what I was focused on. Sorry.
I heard a story from your agent. He told me, and I could have the story wrong, but when you first met with Bouna Inja, shout out to Bouna, he said that they made you work on the track for like 2 weeks straight, no basketball. Yeah. And he said you did it. Yeah. Every morning, no complaints. Can you just tell me about that story?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one of the main things is when you're a big guy, you want to be like mobile, explosive, all that kind of stuff. And I think my body needed to work on that. Obviously, I switched from swimming to basketball quite late, so I needed to develop that. And that's the very first thing he told me, and like I trusted him and I tried to embrace him, and eventually it made me a better player. And I would even go a little bit further. I mean, I gained more than 30 pounds since I've been in college. I mean, I moved in, I was 210 basically. I'm like 245 right now. And same thing is working on your body is being consistent, and I try to embrace that. I understand the process. I think that's one of the discussions I've had with him and like my coaches over the years, and that's a really big deal for me. Understanding the process, putting in the work every day. That's just how you're getting better, and the progression, the stats that you see year after years. That's just what it is, and that's super exciting because starting late, you know that your ceiling is still way, way higher than like other people. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I feel like it's going to be hard to find a player who has progressed and improved as much as you have over the last 4 years. NBA fans, you know what time it is. Playoff season means big performances and even bigger rewards. And DoorDash is bringing the heat with a slam dunk deal for Dash Pass members during the 2025 NBA playoffs. It's called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more points in the playoff game, Dash Pass members score a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. All you have to do is place a $20 or more order. Use the code WINGSTOP50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and totally free. Offer valid from noon until midnight the day after the game. So here's the play. Sign up for Dash Pass to unlock this and more exclusive deals. That's Dash Pass, your door to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms apply. Let's talk about this pre-draft process.
Yeah.
What's a typical day like for you? You're here in Dallas, you're working out, so just go through an average day for you.
For sure. Well, I usually try to wake up early, around 7:30. Get a nice breakfast, go straight to either track or weight room. We try to alternate the days. Have our first workout there, about an hour 15, maybe a little bit longer. From there, get a protein snacks, get a smoothie if needed. Drive to the gym, have usually a 2-hour workouts, whether it is with Tim Martin or with at Tyler Ralph gyms, where we are right now. How about 2:15 workout? Get lunch, come home, stretch a little bit, get a nap, wake up, go to yoga or Pilates in the afternoon, or to recovery sessions, a lot of cryotherapy, a lot of normal tech, that kind of stuff. Try to take care of my body. And then at night, trying to watch the playoff a little bit, just watch some great players that are obviously doing great things right now. And still being in touch with family and friends. I think it's very important, being balanced there, try to communicate with them. And I would say that the main thing outside of the workouts been all the outside of basketball, all the off the court, having access to a chef that makes you a chef and nutritionist that make you the right dishes, the right meals that you need to fuel yourself. Make sure you get your recovery right. Make sure you get your sleep right. Go to bed early. I mean, you're not gonna be in bed past 10. Sorry, yeah, I think that's how we say that. Yeah. Make sure you do all your stretching. Make sure you use all the normative preventers, the kind of stuff that's here for you, and then mentally being able to reset in the afternoon. Obviously, all the yoga and Pilates is working on your body, but it's also working on your mind. And so being conscious of that and repeating the process for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and then going to the combine next week. So yeah, that's what we've been doing.
It's a full day.
For sure.
It's a full day. One of the things that stood out to me just hearing you say that is how mature you are with your approach. And I think some of that has to do with just being a little bit older as far as just experience. I've been doing this for years, and I know there are guys that, maybe they played 1 year of college, and I don't think they understand that this pre-draft process is really a multi-million-dollar job interview.
For sure, yeah.
So some guys are on the game late at night.
Yeah.
And you could see it in the mornings when they have that early workout that they've been playing video games till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So for you to go to bed at 10 that takes a lot of discipline.
For sure. You mentioned a little bit older. I would say just a great listener and a good learner. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've had many generations of players that have been through this before us. Yeah. Whether it is alumni in your own college or national team guys or even guys of your own agencies, guys that you've been around, trainers that do deal with this every single year. You want to make sure that you're open-minded, you're ready to listen to what they have to say, and you try to write it down and retain every single piece of information or of advice that they give you. And I think that's a really big deal for me. These are little things that in the long run, especially over the course of an NBA season that's 82 games long, which is way more than what we've ever done in college. Yep. These are going to make the difference later on. And I think there's a reason why I haven't been injured ever in 4 years of college. It's because I took care of that business and I embraced it. I listened to my strength coach. I listened to our PTs. I listened to our coaches, all the advice, and you try to apply them. There's no ego in this. There's no, but I'm more talented, I'm better, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do all of this. Truth is, if you want to be the best version of yourself, you really do. And on top of that, you have this feeling of accomplishment, and you have this feeling of you got to be honest with yourself, and when you have this drive, you just need to like put everything you have in your control to really like get there, and that's just what I'm trying to do. And yeah, I think being a good listener and a good learner like really allows you to like unlock this aspect of your game and of your life, really.
Yep. So you mentioned you've been watching the playoffs, and I've tried to watch as much as I can. I got a toddler at home.
Yeah.
The game is around his bath time, and got to put him to bed.
Fair.
But I've tried to watch as much as possible. And obviously there's a difference between the intensity and the regular season and the playoffs. And the playoffs this year have kind of shaped my view on scouting, right? So I'm looking at players that I'm thinking like, can this guy play in the playoff setting? Because there's some guys that just are unplayable in the playoff setting. And so when it comes to watching you, I see a guy that if there is a mismatch, you can take advantage of a mismatch in the post because you're skilled. But then also you can play the stretch five if needed. And so when I look at your game, I think that you are someone that can come in and contribute to a playoff team. What are you seeing in the playoffs that makes you evaluate your own game?
Well, it's very funny you say that. I think, as you mentioned, my versatility is very powerful in those settings because scout is way more important. I mean, we see it with the Boston and Knicks series. Boston takes advantage of Robinson not being able to shoot free throws, fouling him over and over and over again. That's something where if I'm in the game, you don't allow that to the other team. Then you have teams that want to keep their big inside as much as possible, whether it is in a drop, whether it is more in like a zone-ish type of deal. Having a guy that could shoot the three kind of like counter that. Then you have teams that are going way, way smaller because they don't have a true big. Like the Lakers in the first round really suffered from that. Yep. And so having big bodies inside, being able to take advantage of those mismatches definitely helps. And I think I can provide like solutions to these kind of things. And that's the great thing about scouting and being extremely specific with how you're gonna like run your offense, run your defense, is that if you have pieces that you can kind of like plug into different game plan, then it's extremely valuable in like multiple playoff series. And I think I can add that for sure. And on top of that, there's still so much growth to be like, still so much growth. Like I can still get better at so many other areas. Once again, that like I'm willing to embrace those roles too. There's not the ego of, oh hey, like I feel like I'm a shooter, so I need to shoot every single time I touch the ball. Like if it's a great shot, I will. But at the same time, you need to be conscious that it's like a 5-player game, and you also just want to like win the game at the end of the day. And so being able to like put yourself into like a role that's going to help the team overall. If that means taking all the shots, great. If that means making all the extra, great. If that means getting all the rebounds, great. But being conscious of that and being able to like adapt yourself in those situations, I think is really important. So yeah, I think in that sense, can definitely add a lot to even a playoff team for sure.
Coming into this season, I had one major concern about you as a prospect.
Yeah.
I thought you rebounded well, but I didn't see you as like a really good rim protector. So your shot blocking numbers went up this year.
Yeah.
But then, and this is something that you mentioned to me last week, I went back and watched, over a 7-game stretch, no small sample size, but you averaged 2.7 blocks per game in March. Was there a difference that led to that spike in blocks?
Absolutely. We started working with James Reed to do like basically like video analysis. It was outside of the Stanford spectrum, and just started reviewing my games, started reviewing what the best player in the league do, the best defenders, and started to commit more to those to blocking shots. And yeah, like I tripled basically over the span of I think it was 7 to 10 games really. And the thing that's really, really exciting is that this is really the first time I've been doing this. In my 4 years at Stanford, like never really been taught to like go block shot. It was always like, oh, try to wall up, trying to be low on the ground. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Like I'm 7 foot. Like I need to be like more impactful on this end. You started working on it, and you have like result that came immediately. On top of that, it's March, so it's like end of season. That's when the teams are like at their best. They know what they're doing, and yet you perform the best on the blocking end. So that was really exciting, and yeah, and once again, unlocking a part of your game being able to learn, being open-minded to the critique, watching a lot of film as well. I think that helped me a lot. I'm very visual, and yeah, as you mentioned, like once I put a focus on something, I managed to like get better at it. Ceiling is just so high that like every single time I just add to the bag, add to the bag, add to the bag. It's like you have a tool belt and you just want to have as many tools as possible, and that was really exciting, yeah, for sure. And I think it's a great start, a great foundation for whatever is coming next. So yeah, really excited about that.
Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? So you can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console is required. All you have to do is just grab a paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included. Dive into hundreds of premium titles like EA Sports College Football 25, my all-time favorite game, and it is as easy as streaming your favorite shows. It is gaming made simple, and it is all free on your Fire TV. And with 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. So head over to Amazon.com/FireTV locked on to get started. The Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. It is available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second generation, and Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube, third generation. So I have a question for you. I'm curious to hear your answer. I have two, and I'm torn on which is the correct answer. In your opinion, what is the most underrated aspect of your game?
Strangely, I feel like moving my feet. I'm able to actually like switch and like guards, like actual guards, way more than people think. I think people like see me as like, oh, he's like this like tall white European. He's not going to be physical. He's going to be very slow, etc. What I love is the way we defended our out-of-bound plays last year was I would be on the ball, the baseline out-of-bound. I would be on the ball, and everybody was kind of denying everything. And many teams try to just like get a guard and inbounding the ball, go in the corner and trying to ISO me. And I remember doing this like at UNC and just getting like 3 blocks on that just because like the guard was trying to like go past me like, no, you can't.
It was the baseline play. Elliot Cadeau was driving baseline.
Yeah, Elliot Cadeau did it once, then Tremble did it once, and then RJ did it from the middle as well. And like, no, I'm good at it. I can move my feet, and I can be way more physical than you think. I think from outside it looks like a little bit deceiving, but you need to be physical to lead the country in double-doubles. You need to be physical to get 10, 11 rebounds a game. You need to be physical to be able to like lead a team that was projected 17th in the ACC, ended up top 6, almost beat Louisville. Like we're up by 15. I get 5 fouls. I need to be better on that. But 15, top 13 team in the country. Like we're good. We're good. And once again, I love my teammate. I think we did an amazing job. But we don't necessarily have like the most loaded team like some other guys, like some other team like have. Like obviously we're not a Duke team by any means, but I think we overperformed, and I think there's a reason for that. And you don't do that with your leader being like a soft little guy that don't want to defend and like don't want to like play on contact. Like I don't believe in that. I think it's not real. So yeah, I think that's what's very underrated. And also leadership, I would say. I think just the way I express myself right now just means that like I do care about my teammates and I care about like getting the most out of them. I think guys are not necessarily like with us at workouts, but I love to talk trash. I love to give people confidence. I love to get dudes outside of the court to like get meal with them, talk to them, and just engage with them and try to like make them a better player, make them a better competitor. Once again, like the picture you have of me on the outside, like I think like, you know, a Stanford grad, like well-spoken, like trying to, you know, have a good image. Like reality is like when you're between those lines, just trying to be a dog and try to dominate. And I think I embrace that a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like I've paid a lot of attention to your game, and just being around you in the gym the last couple of weeks, the leadership stood out. You're the loudest person in the gym, the biggest personality in the gym, and I won't call out the stats because somebody could probably guess who you're talking about, but you were in a shooting drill and somebody talked some noise to you and you kindly spit out your stats in that performance. And I was like, Okay. I mean, I knew you can't, like you said, you can't be soft and average 20 and 12 as the number one name on the scouting report. But there's like an extra layer of like dog and competitive fire in you that I didn't see until I was able to see you like up close and personal. Now, as far as like the most underrated aspect of your game, from my opinion, I'm having a hard time deciding, is it the athleticism or the passing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, those two, too. I mean, if you go back to this year, I've only got one lob. Actually, two. One against UNC, one against Utah State, which I guess that's the way we're playing. But I can definitely catch lob.
Yep.
I can definitely jump. It's just the way we run our offense was not really. If you go back to junior year, you actually have way more like clips of like us like getting lobs and everything, as well as shot blocking. Like by the end of the season, you don't get like almost 3 blocks a game by not being athletic. I agree with this. And then passing, I think passing is very underrated, especially since the entire year was double team basically. Yep. And I think making good read out of it. It's funny because when you're expected to be the leading scorer of your team and like we run the play for you to like take the last shot, it's often like harder to like initiate the passing and like initiate the offense a little bit more. But I do believe I got like also like a good like passing back, whether it is like from the post right here, some reverse passes to like either the wing or the corner. Definitely had a lot of these when I was getting doubled. Being able to push the ball in transition and then like had a couple like behind the pass pack, either it's like Ozasta in the corner against VT, on the wing against like Wake Forest, I believe. I think I also had like one against SMU like that. I mean, I can do those things for sure. I guess the way we're trying to use me was not necessarily to like showcase those kind of skills. We're trying to be like more efficient with the way our offense was ran. But I mean, you can ask Max. I think he's going to come on the pod like right after me. Like he throw me lobs and I catch them. There's no question with that. But that's once again, that's very exciting because these are things that like people don't necessarily see just because of the way we like played this year. And I can't wait to just like be in a setting where like I can showcase this thing as well and like have people being like, oh, whoa, there's another layer to him again. And I think it's just exciting stuff, yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it because even when I was referring to athleticism, I wasn't even talking about vertical athleticism. Yeah. I was talking about getting the rebound, going coast to coast.
For sure.
There was one play, it was early in the season.
Against Oregon?
No, it wasn't against Oregon. It wasn't a non-conference schedule. It's crazy because I'm like, Oregon, I guess, Oregon.
I don't know. I remember one against Nate Beadle, like, just like, I don't know. I think it was getting a steal and just like going coast to coast, like,
that was
crossing
in like
a little bit. But that was in San Jose. It was like which one are you talking about?
It was very early in the season. He caught the ball in the corner on the right side. I think you hit the defender with a pump fake, and then you drove, but then you Euro stepped.
Oh, against UC Davis. Yeah. First half in the corner over there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Euro step, finish with the left. Yeah.
That was impressive. And so I had tweeted a video of all like your athletic clips of you like attacking closeouts, going coast to coast, and I'm like, how many 7-footers in the world move like this? And the response was, I didn't know he had that.
Yeah.
And I think some people aren't really paying attention to your game. They see the numbers, they see the skill, but they're not seeing like you're going coast to coast, you're attacking closeouts, you're Euro stepping around guys, you're making touch passes, you're getting the ball at the elbows, you're finding cutters. And that's why I was struggling to figure out what is the most underrated aspect of your game. And I didn't even think about like the verticality standpoint of it as just a vertical athlete. And I do think that being a vertical lob threat adds another intrigue to your game because think about like the NBA. How many guys are vertical lob threats that can also space the floor and protect the rim? I mean, that's probably, you combine those three, the pool gets really, really small. And then that just adds a lot of value. All right, last couple questions. What are you looking forward to, and I guess it could lead into what we just talked about, but what are you looking forward to showing NBA teams at the Combine and in your individual workouts?
Well, I want to go back with what we mentioned earlier of like all the intangibles. I think workouts is a great time to see what scouts usually don't see at games, which is how you behave. Are you like an alpha dog in the gym? Are you the loudest guy in the gym? Are you the crazy guy in the gym almost?
I've seen that.
Are you taking care of your body, nutrition, all the non-game day type of stuff. I think these are very important because these are like big part of my personality and big part of me as a player. So these are things that like I do every day, and there's no reason why they should not know about it. So that would be the first thing. And then once again, like everything was mentioned so far, like versatility, being in shape, trying to show more of the skills that are usually not seen as much, whether it is like athleticism, passing, that kind of stuff, right? Just being able to display everything I'm able to do. That's what I'm looking for. But first and foremost, I think like the intent and the energy you should bring should be off the chart. I strongly believe that they have a year worth of clips. If they want to know more about one specific aspect of my game, they can just come and ask me. Like that's what these like workouts and dinners are for. But if there's one thing that they should never be able to question, is like whether this dude is gonna like give energy, whether this dude is gonna like scream during workouts, like encouraging people, talking trash to them, like how much is he gonna lift the team once he's in there? You know what I'm saying? I think these are things that like I'm really looking forward to express.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you showing teams that you can defend in space.
Oh, for sure.
I was watching you and Nick Smith, which was an interesting. Nick Smith is in the NBA. He's 6'3", and you guys were playing one-on-one.
Yeah.
But it was one-on-one, like, in space. And I think it's good for you and him. For him, it's, all right, you got to switch against a big, and you have to know how to create space. And then for you, it's, all right, I got a small on me. But it wasn't in the post. It was more so you showing your ability to handle the ball in space.
You know what's exciting about this workout thing is like you can't hide anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the 6 of you guys, 1-on-1 full court, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. You don't have help.
But you can't hide, because what if somebody runs from you? Because if I'm an agent, I don't know if I'm going to have my guy work out against you.
Well, we know that. I mean, team know that. Team knows what it is. Team knows when, like, the big guy is going to say, like, oh, actually, he had a lot of workout this week. It's okay, though.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, you know, it's funny when you have, like, bigs from the ACC that are, like, being projected top 5, but then you give them 19.5 and they end up being subbed out every time you get into the game on the second half. And the whole team have to go, switch 1-5, front you and send another guy from the back so you don't even catch the ball the second half. But then they're projected as being like some of the best defender in the league. Like, that's interesting to me. Like being projected as being one of the best rim protector in college, but you have more blocks than them. Like, but I can defend. That's very interesting to me. So yeah, we'll see if they dug the workouts or not. But once again, you don't hide. It's going to be 1-on-1. It's going to be 2-on-2. It's going to be 3-on-3. Like, that's exciting.
All right, what is in the water in France? I think this is kind of...
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
On one hand, I want to say it's the golden era, but then that's kind of disrespectful to the Batum, Gobert, that era. But, that group has silver medals and so on.
Olympics, back-to-back silvers, too.
Recently, you got Victor, obviously. You have Risache, you have Alex Sarr, and there's been a lot of French prospects that have been going in the top 10 and first-round picks. What is it in the development, and what's in the water in France that's producing so many high-level players?
I will give a little analogy with soccer. Soccer is the main sports in Europe, and especially in France. In 1998, France won their first World Cup. Before that, soccer was good, it was a big deal, but it was not the sport. You give it a generation, literally 20 years later, 2018, we win our second World Cup, and we had the best team in the world by far. It was like some of the top players, most talented guys we've ever had. I think what's happening with basketball is very similar. About 15 years ago, we win the European Championship with Tony Parker, Boris Diaw, all of them. Yeah. This trigger kids to start playing basketball, to invest in basketball. And 20 years later, you see the result of that was back-to-back silver medals in the Olympics, maybe gold coming up in 2028, finalists in the World Championship, that kind of stuff. On top of that, I strongly believe that talking about athletic freaks, talking about talented kids, you have so many of them in France, and especially in like the Parisian region and like the outskirts. You have no idea the number of guys that we've seen starting basketball, playing until like they were 14, 15. They would kill everybody. But they were so dominant, not because they were like already like grown men, but just because so much talented, and they just stopped basketball because they just don't want to anymore. The amount of talented people that we have over there, all they need is just a little bit of structure and a little bit of hope that like they can make it out with this. That's what we've had over the past couple of years, and that's why you see like guys like Vic, guys like Zach, Alex, Bilal, Ryan, like all of these dudes is, I think, as a society, we recognize it more, we invest in it more, because we do have the players. Like, we really do have them. We just finally give them the opportunity. And on top of that, I think the NBA has finally officially opened their doors to Europe. You see, it was like the last couple's MVPs, like all of them are not American. Like, you have Jokic, you have Giannis, you have Luka, was like MVP caliber type of guy. Shea, maybe this year, was like Canada, right? They finally opened the doors to like the outside world, and we're just coming in and dominating. And there's no reason why that should stop. And especially France, like back-to-back first picks, whether you like it or not, that's a fact. And they're here dominating. So, yeah, I think that's what's going on. I'm super, super, super excited to like see what the future brings us. Hopefully, a lot of gold, a lot of championships, and many, many more kids like accomplishing their dreams of like making it to the NBA.
All right, final question for you. Draft night.
Yeah.
I think you're a first-round pick. Actually, I have you as a lottery pick on my latest big board. Adam Silver calls your name.
Yeah.
What will that mean to you?
It's hard to answer this question for like the only reason that like I'm trying to stay grounded in like the present right now. I'm not trying to like jump into the future. I really believe that like what's gonna get my name called is like the work I put in right now. So I try not to think about it. But the first thought that will come to mind is obviously very emotional, I believe, but somewhat is two things. The accomplishment of all the work you've put in up until that point, somewhat of like a recognition as well, but at the same time, the start and like the opportunity to like finally turn professional and dedicate your entire life to like that. And it's the opportunity to like get even better, compete for like bigger things, bigger championships on the biggest stage in the world. And I think that's more this new world that's opening to you that I'm trying to embrace and I'm trying to dominate. Getting into the NBA is not the end of it. It's like, it's actually just the start, which is so much more exciting. And I think a lot of guys like sometimes get caught up. They're like, oh, my name has been called, I'm in the league, I'm good. Like, no, bro, like that's where it gets real and that's where it starts. And I think that's this side that I will try to embrace. But once again, for now, I'm just trying to be like day to day, getting to gym, getting your treatment, doing the things right, and dominating that part of my life.
This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.